I've learned about comments is that you have to put in a little work in order to get them, but when you do, it is so worth it. Hello fellow fic writers, kudos for clicking on this video. My name is Cora Maria and I'm here to help you write and post your dream fanfiction. If there's one thing fanfic authors treasure above all else, it's comments. If there's one question I see fic writers ask over and over again, it's how to get more comments. But whenever fic writers ask this, they usually get a response like, comments shouldn't matter because you should be writing for yourself. To an extent, that's true. Should we all write stories for our own fulfillment? Yeah, but if you're putting in the effort to post your story, then it's natural to want feedback and community. But getting comments is kinda rare, and that can be really discouraging. You can't force anyone to give you feedback, but there are several things you can do to encourage it, and that's what this video is about. Prologue, a disclaimer. This video won't teach you how to get a flood of comments. I haven't ever achieved that for myself. I have, however, figured out how to get 5 to 10 comments per update on a fic for a fandom and ship that is long past its glory days. And comments are usually a paragraph or longer, with some being literal essays. If you're someone who rarely gets comments on your work, then this video should help you out. This video will not teach you how to increase your readership either. That's a whole other topic entirely. This video will only teach you how to encourage comments from your current readership or attract the kind of readers who are likely to leave comments. With that out of the way, let's jump on to Chapter 1, What Doesn't Work. Before we get into the what to do's, we should also cover the what not to do's. These are the strategies that many a writer have tried to gain more comments, but are actually a great way to chase your would-be commenters away. First of all, don't shame readers who don't comment. I am now handing you this hard to swallow pill. You are not entitled to comments. There are reasons, valid reasons, why people don't comment, and if you shame your silent readers, the vocal ones will probably just wrinkle their nose and click the back button, leaving that comment box empty. This is because you're turning comments from a gift into an obligation, and that makes fandom less fun for everyone. Next, do not withhold chapters until you get a certain number of comments. I know this seems like it would be productive, but fandom is not a transaction. It is a gift economy. With people already hesitant to give unfinished works a go, holding your chapters hostage is not going to give them any confidence that you'll actually finish your fic. It's also just a bad look for you. And again, people would rather read fics from someone who actually appreciates their readers. Having a general entitlement to comments, whether it be in your author's notes, comment responses, or just general social media, is also no good. Yes, you do work hard on your fics. Yes, you do want some recognition for them. Yes, it's a real shame that feedback just isn't as common as it once was. Your feelings and frustrations are valid, but those are something you should process yourself, in privacy, or with a trusted confidant. Don't make those feelings the problem of people who just want to read a good story.
Hey, it's Editing Cora here. I just wanted to jump in because I think this section came across as harsher than I intended. I just wanted to say that the pain of pouring your heart into something, putting it out there, and hearing silence in return is very real, and I don't think I validated that pain enough. Unfortunately, I got too focused on the people who take that pain out on their readers, especially their silent readers, to the point of vilifying them. In no way am I trying to paint everyone who feels discouraged by the lack of feedback as toxic. Thank you for listening to this little interlude.
The thing about shaming silent readers, holding chapters hostage, or acting entitled to comments is this. In no way does it help you understand why readers don't comment. If you really want comments, then you need to understand why readers are silent in the first place. And that's what we'll cover in Chapter 2, Why most readers don't comment. As a fic writer, commenting may seem easy to you. After all, writing a fanfiction is nothing compared to writing a few sentences of feedback. If you have the time and skills to write a fanfiction, then surely anyone has the time and skills to write a comment. Well, no. Commenting does take effort, and for a lot of people it might be more difficult than you realize. Here's just a handful of reasons why people don't comment. Page 1. They could be reading under circumstances that make commenting difficult. I know if I'm reading on public transport and I finish a chapter just as I reach my stop, I'm probably not going to leave a comment right then and there. I might intend to come back later, but it'll probably slip my mind. Page 2. Readers just don't know what to say. Feeling things about a story is one thing, but being able to articulate them is a whole nother thing. And for people who maybe struggled in school, never had a proper education, or perhaps just have some kind of learning disability, they just can't do it. Page 3. Maybe whichever language you're fic in just isn't the reader's first language. It's pretty common to understand a language well enough to read in it but not write in it.
Editing Cora again. Another point I forgot to mention is disability. Learning disabilities, chronic fatigue, and mobility issues can all create barriers to commenting on stories.
Page 4. Maybe they've seen you or other fic writers say that certain kinds of comments are rude or not good enough, and thus they're afraid that by commenting, they'll somehow upset you. This is why shaming short comments or emoji comments is really unproductive. Page 5. The reader could be new to fanfiction and want to spend some time lurking. They want to understand the culture enough before they start participating in it. Page 6. Maybe they're just accustomed to passively consuming content and don't yet understand how important the reader-writer interaction is. Page 7. A lot of fandom discussion and community happens on Discord nowadays. While your comment section may be empty, there could be a dozen people raving about your fic in their Discord server. They get all their emotions about your story out of their system there instead of in your comment section. Page 8. Finally, a lot of readers see the writers they admire as celebrities, and they're used to the idea that celebrities just don't have the time to spare a thought for them. You may think their comment matters, but the reader doesn't think so. So why would they bother? Now that we understand why readers don't comment, let's examine the opposite. Chapter 3. Why do readers comment? There are lots of reasons why. Here's just a handful. Page 1. It's an outlet for the emotions they've experienced when reading your story. They have feelings, and they need to get those feelings out. And, well, the comments box is right there. Page 2. Your readers could be writers themselves who personally understand how precious comments are. Often, we are the change we want to see in the world. Page 3. Your reader wants to reach out and feel a sense of community with you. And that's great! It's what fandom is all about. Page 4. The reader sees you as a friend or mutual and wants to encourage you. Since they know you, commenting on your stories feels less scary than commenting on the story of a stranger. Page 5. Maybe they have questions they want to ask. It could be something about your work that confused them and they're seeking clarity. Maybe they're just curious about something, or they could be looking to even start a conversation. Page 6. Finally, readers might comment because you seem approachable, relatable, or somehow at their level. You've presented yourself as someone they want to interact with, so interact they will. Now that we understand why people do or don't comment, we can finally dig into the strategies that will encourage that sweet, sweet feedback that we all want so much. Chapter 4. How to encourage comments the right way. These strategies are all about easing any obstacles preventing people from commenting, as well as appealing to the reasons why people do comment. Again, these tips won't bring you a flood of comments, but if they're as effective for you as they are for me, then they should make a difference. Page 1. Read fics that are similar to your own and then comment on them. Let's say you and another author are fans of the same character dynamic, be it a ship, a friendship, or some kind of family bond. If you're leaving insightful comments on their work, they might get curious about who you are. Once they click on your profile, they see that you're also writing stories about their favorite dynamic, and they'll be interested to try your work. And then comment on it because they're the change they want to see in the world. Page 2. Join a Discord server related to the niche you're writing in. Discord servers are where fandom lives now, and it's often where discussions about fics happen. I've definitely gotten a handful of readers from the server for my ship, and we're always joking and chatting about my stories. While they might not be comments directly on my fic, they still scratch that feedback and community itch. Page 3. Cross-post on multiple fanfiction archives. This is more of a expanding your readership thing than a getting more comments thing, but with more readers often comes more comments. If you're posting on fanfiction.net, AO3, and Wattpad, then those are 3 platforms to receive feedback on. It's as if you're casting a wider net. Page 4. Leave regular author's notes. This builds approachability. A chapter with no author's notes feels like a chapter from a regular book. A chapter with author's notes feels like a real person handing you a gift. It reminds the reader that there is a person behind the story that probably wants to hear how much they enjoyed it. Side note, but if you'd like to know more about making the most of your author's notes, check out my other video. Page 5. Ask questions to prompt comments. Remember what we covered about some readers just not knowing what to comment? You can help them along by posing a question in the ANs at the end of the chapter. Even if this doesn't get you more comments, you might find it gets you longer feedback from existing commenters. Page 6. List the kinds of comments that are welcome. Make it clear that you welcome the types of comments that people might feel pointless about offering. A great example of this is the long-lived feedback comment project, which includes a pre-written message that you can paste into the ending notes of your own fics. Long-lived feedback also has a comment builder that you can link for anyone who wants to comment but struggles to think of something to say.
Another thing to note is that long-lived feedback did create this comment builder with ESL learners and people with disabilities in mind, so by linking this, you'd be able to help remove a variety of barriers people may face.
You can also encourage comments in other languages. Google Translate should be able to get the message across well enough. Consider it extra flattery that someone loved your fic so much that they wanted to tell you despite a language barrier. Page 7. Show appreciation for the comments you do receive. Complaining about the lack of comments you get will just make anyone who does comment feel underappreciated. Like the effort they go to isn't good enough. Expressing gratitude in your ANs tells them that their comments do matter, and thus they'll keep sending them your way. Page 8. Reply to comments. Don't forget to nurture the individuals who are already giving you feedback, address the specifics of their comment whenever you can, and even go back and forth with them. Don't worry about things like inflating your comment count, because most readers just assume that the comment count is greater than the number of comment threads anyway. And also, why are you treating some number as more important than your readers? I've also seen many readers on forums and threads say that they feel more inclined to comment if they see that the writer responds to comments. This goes to show how community and feedback is a two-way street, so you need to do your part. So those are all my tips. Even though you can go back and apply many of them to works you've already posted, they're at their most effective when you initially post your fic. This is because the day you post or update is often the day your fic is most visible and gets the most readers, so keep that in mind. The thing I've learned about comments is that you have to put in a little work in order to get them, but when you do, it is so worth it. Once you understand the mindset of a commenter and employ all these tips, you should get an uptick in your feedback. If you've tried any of these tips and gotten results, please let me know in the comments below. I'm really eager to see if they work for you as well as they do for me. And that's the end of the video. Kudos for watching, kudos for liking, and extra kudos if you've subscribed and hit the bell for more dreamy fanfiction tips. I'll see you in my next video, but in the meantime, happy fic writing!